Like ants, we scurry about. You need the grade, the green, the grub, the girl, or the guy. There's always something to occupy our short lives with on this planet. Some of us have been fortunate, having access to technologies such as cars, cell phones, or computers. Others, not so lucky. Many people must use a public library for access, and there are others who have never seen a computer before. This is the digital divide, and there are not one, but three divides.
The split between those who have money and those who do not is obvious. There are businesses who spend millions of dollars filling their buildings with technology, when there are people on the street who can't even afford their monthly rent and can't even afford to buy food every day. Some of these people have never owned a cell phone or a car, and many have never even used a computer before.
The internet is not a big truck. The internet is not something that you just dump something on. The internet is not,
Currently, the internal digital divide is a problem based on generation gaps and income differences. In 2002, households in America had close to 100% telephone penetration, and houses with an income of over $75,000 were 20 times more likely to have the internet than households in the lower income bracket. Similarly, medium and high-income households were also 10 times more likely to own computers than households in the lower income bracket. In contrast, India had 3% telephone penetration and almost 2% internet penetration in 2002. Only the privileged people, comprised of a small contingent of rich, English-speaking businessmen and government officials, have access to the internet. In India, the true cause for telephone penetration to be at a staggering 2 to 3% is because only 30 million Indians could afford the cost of access installation in 2002. This example provides a clear vision of what the internal divide looks like. By collaborating with people who don't have ready access to digital technology, the governments and organizations can help introduce these people to said technologies. In Canada, roughly 90% of teenagers access the internet, while only 5% of seniors use the internet on a regular basis. During retirement, seniors have no need to learn technology because they're no longer in the labor force. In contrast, children and teenagers are taught technology in school to succeed in the workforce. This process of becoming technologically adept and knowledgeable early in life due to access and availability of technology tends to increase children's desires to learn more about the wonders of information technology as they grow. On the other side of the coin, there are people from prior generations who did not have such readily available technology at their fingertips, and in some cases there are generations who were young during an era where modern technology did not exist as such. The outcome is that older generations do not tend to have the skills and knowledge needed to effectively and efficiently use today's technologies. This lack of technical knowledge can and will always leave people in the past, not able to move forward in the future and contribute effectively to the modern society.
To do if PC load letter, what does that mean?
The second divide is international, where some countries have gotten ahead of their global neighbors. It's easy to say that developed countries have gotten to where they are because of technology. Countries like Great Britain, Iceland, and Norway are low in natural resources. Because they embraced this technological era in an early age, they've reaped the benefits. On the other hand, China is still labeled as a developing nation because they've only recently adopted the integration of technology. The international divide is the divide between nations who have high access to digital technologies such as telephone landlines, cell phone access, internet access, and access to computers both personal and public. There is substantial evidence to show that the Human Development Index, or HDI, of a nation correlates to its Networked Readiness Index, or NRI. It has also been shown that gross domestic product, GDP levels, are also related to NRI levels, while GDP growth has generally been highest in nations with high growth in digital technology use. This is typically the most publicized facet of the digital divide because the developed nations have made a concerted effort to raise global awareness surrounding the disparity in knowledge of and access to information technology in the developing third world countries. The international divide is a pressing issue in the world today. While developed nations like the USA, Germany, and Canada have easy, cheap access to the internet, there are many underdeveloped nations like China, India, and almost every African nation that do not. The international divide increases the disparity already present in these nations. Now, not only are they poor, but they're also left out of the wealth of knowledge the internet brings us. We take telephones for granted, but most Southeast Asian and African nations don't even have a telephone service, and only the upper middle class and rich people have access to cell phones. For example, Chad only has an 8% cellular penetration rate, and this is concentrated in the richest portion of the nation. Bridging the international divide isn't easy, and it requires a converged policy between local business, culture, and government. Singapore, for example, converged two separate government bodies into a single government body that oversees ICT development in the country. In many cases, it requires a collaborative effort between nations and organizations themselves. For example, Afghanistan was given a training program for Afghani locals to learn ICT. Globalization of economies can also help bridge the divide because cultures and language will become easier to integrate into business, helping overseas countries bring technology where it is least prevalent.